Irving has suffered a season-ending torn ACL in his left knee, sources telling ESPN. Our Shams Charania breaking the story. Irving appeared in 50 of the Mavs' 62 games so far. He's currently the only player in the NBA averaging at least 20 points, 40% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. The fifth season in his career with those statistics, second most all-time to Steph Curry. This is absolutely devastating. Big Perk, coming to you. Kyrie done for the season with a torn ACL.
It is devastating because, Kyrie was playing at an all NBA level, and it's been a beautiful thing to see and watch him in the Dallas Maverick uniform, Molly. His leadership has been through the roof. After everything that happened in Brooklyn, he made people forget about that because of his play and leadership. Now, we'll say this. For Kyrie, it is not the end of the world for him. As a guy that was 285, 280, 6'10", I tore my ACL and I was back in 6 months. The doctors that the league have and the technology that you have, yes, I understand it's an ACL, but Kyrie will be back. He will be back stronger. One of the most mental tough guys that we've ever been around when it comes to putting in the hard work and approaching the game of basketball. Kyrie will be just fine. And now the Dallas Mavericks have some decisions to make. What do you do?
Hey, what is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel, Just Simply Sports here with me. I am Kaja. If you're new, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button. As you just heard Kendrick Perkins say, the Mavericks definitely have some choices to make, some decisions to make, and I think the only right decision is to just shut it down for the season. Obviously, let your bench players play, let your role players play, and see what you really have there and come back better and stronger next season, because you're not going to contend for a championship, really and truly, especially as stacked as it is in the West, without a healthy Kyrie Irving on the floor at all. It's just, in my humble opinion, not going to happen. And there's no need to rush Anthony Davis back from injury. I feel like he got there and he missed 1 or 2 games, then he played that game, he was playing lights out, and then he re-aggravated that same injury that obviously hasn't yet to fully heal. There's no reason to rush him back when it needs more time, especially when they're not going to win without him. I know that everything that has happened, they want to be able to compete, especially in the playoffs, because getting rid of Luka and then having all this happen, it has just been like a domino effect for the Mavericks, and it just looks like karma. I don't know if it's the karma. I don't know if it's just a coinky dink. I don't know if it's just really and truly just bad luck. Everything is in timing, and I personally I believe that the Mavericks in the future next season with a healthy squad will really make some noise in the West, because AD, Kyrie, having the other bigs that are there healthy, Daniel Gafford. I am personally high on Derek Lively. I think he has yet to even come close to his reaching his ceiling, being so young and all. PJ Washington, there's just quite a few players, there, Grimes, Najee Marshall. I mean, it goes on and on. I think they have a lot of, great players there. Max Christie as well is a nice two-way player. He's really coming into his own, I really feel like, when it's all said and done and we finally get to see the Mavericks versus, a healthy, Los Angeles Lakers squad, excuse me for stuttering. I think people are going to really be surprised at that matchup. I know that everybody talks about how obviously how great and generational Luka is, and obviously he is all the things. But let's not sleep on AD and his greatness as well. Like, this is not some slouch, you know what I mean, who they just swapped, Luka out for. Personally, I don't think it was smart to send Luka with that kind of talent, with a LeBron James, to that organization. Out of all the places you could have sent Luka, why would you send him to a team you're gonna have to play against in the West, and to make them a more formidable opponent? To me, doesn't make sense. I know that a lot of people are coming for Nico right now, especially with the season, tickets prices being raised and Luka not being there, and now we'll get a chance to really see what it looks like when Luka goes back to Dallas, you know, in a few weeks because they don't really have their players. So he'll be there, but it won't be for me watching the game. I can't really look at it and say, okay, what's this going to look like when one team is on life support? I mean, clinging to life, you know what I mean? Like charge, and then you have other team who is fully healthy and stocked, you know. So, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. I'm sure it'll be bittersweet for him. But Nico Harrison cannot make this kind of move without ownership, obviously fully supporting him. And I'm going to say, unpopular opinion, that this wasn't Nico's idea. I wholeheartedly believe that ownership did not want to pay that extra money for Luka. They didn't want to pay that supermax contract. But for whatever reason, it feels like when this new ownership took over, I believe a year and a half ago, that there was just something that wasn't meshing between the two. I don't think it had anything to do necessarily with his weight or him being, you know, a lack of conditioning or whatever have you. I just feel like there was just no meeting in their minds, and they said, "Look, we're not paying this kind of money. If when we get to the promised land, we're not, you know, crossing the finish line." You know, I could be wrong, but for them to send Luke out of all places, you could have sent him to the East someplace really and truly and gotten so much more. But for you to just send him to the Lakers because you supposedly wanted AD that bad, I'm not really buying that story, but I get they got to put something out in the media, and that's how media works, right? We're never going to fully know why this happened the way it did, but Nico is definitely the fall guy. So if something happens and when things hit the fan as the fall guy, he's going to be the first one to go. And for that, I really hate that for Nico. I really truly do. Looking at Jason Kidd's face, he's looking like, oh my God, like Luka's gone. AD's hurt. Kyrie, this did not look too good. You know, like it's just, I know he's probably so frustrated as a coach, really and truly. But that's the way things happen, right, in the NBA, you guys. You know, like one day somebody's healthy, next day somebody's out. You know, people are having a otherworldly season, and then they pull, you know, a tore ACL, meniscus, and like they're out for the next, you know, 3 to 4 months, and then that's that, you know, because you can't rush these things back, you know. But my humble opinion, that is the best thing for the Mavericks to do is to just shut it down like they did with Joel Embiid and the Sixers. Just shut it down. There's no need to really put your team through it. I feel like that's part of the reason why Kyrie got hurt. I feel like overnight he went from being like the number two guy to being the guy for everything, you know. And obviously Kyrie is still Kyrie, you know, when healthy, he can do, obviously he's incredible, especially with the ball handling. To me, I think he's the best ball handler, hands down. But when you're not used to that, you know, like, and it's just throwing you out of nowhere, and you got to do it over and over again, and like, because you're like playing so hard now, especially trying to make that playoff push and contend for seeding and get out of the play-in, you know, it's so much more in your body, so much more responsibility that he had to bear, and I feel like that is kind of what contributed to it. You know, but again, it's really, really unfortunate because he was having such a great season. We really have forgotten about Kyrie, you know, with the whole, you know, vaccination thing and everything that happened, you know, with the tweet, you know, and all the negative things that had been saying, that people had been saying about him, that the media was talking about with him. It kind of had become like a an afterthought because he had been doing so well and really thriving, you know, with Jason Kidd, you know, with Luca, you know, his hermano, you know, as he calls him, you know, his friend. It's really unfortunate, but I look forward to seeing what this team can really do next season with a fully healthy squad. I think people are going to be really surprised when you have these two healthy teams, the Mavericks and the Lakers, really get a chance to really play against one another for the first time, a really good chance to see what they're made of. And I think people are going to really feel like, okay, maybe Nico's decision wasn't that bad. But what do you guys think though about this whole, you know, situation with Kyrie, and being that Kyrie is now out for the rest of the season? Do you believe, like I do, that they should just shut it down for the rest of the season? Let me know in those comments, of course, and I will see you in another video.